second video for the day. CNN falsely claims White House admits to quid pro quo with Ukraine. I saw this headline and I thought, well, no they didn't. No they didn't. But let's jump into it. And yeah, let's see what they have to say. CNN claimed, when I said no they didn't, I meant the White House, by the way. So CNN claimed Thursday that White House admits to quid pro quo with Ukraine. Then appeared to be the opposite, in fact. What happened during the press conference with the acting White House Chief of Staff, Mavuri. I'm not mispronouncing that name. Mavuri told reporters that there had been no quid pro quo, as described by the pursuit of his impeachment. The President Donald Trump had not withheld aid from the Ukraine, but it agreed to investigate his potential 2020 rival, former Vice President Joe Biden. I think someone actually pointed out that when Trump was on this call with Ukraine, that the aid hadn't even come up for talking about yet. It was still like 3 months or something away before they even realized they were supposed to not give the aid. What Murray actually said was the Trump administration had initially withheld funding from the Ukraine from various reasons, including the fact that European was not providing enough funding for military aid. Another reason, he said, was his suspicions of the corruption in the Ukraine, which included Ukraine's possible role in interference in the 2016 presidential election, including its possible possession of a Democrat National Committee server. Murphy said to look back at what happened in 2016 certainly was a part of things Trump was worried about in corruption with the nation. That is absolutely appropriate. When the reporter said that there was a quid pro quo, Murphy objected and said they were routine from the US to withhold funds from foreign nations all the time. He gave an example from this week where the US held funds from the North Triangle nations El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala until they agreed to help stop migration. Murphy later added that the money held up was absolutely nothing to do with Biden. When another reporter used the term quid pro quo, Murphy objected. Those are the terms you use. Go look at what our US ambassador to the European nations, Gorak Soland, I'm not pronouncing, said today in his testimony. Was that, I think, in his opening statement, he said something along the lines of they're trying to get deliverable, and a deliverable was the statement by the Ukraine about how they're going to deal with the corruption. Okay, go read his testimony if you haven't already. And what he says, he's right. It's absolutely an ordinary course of business. This is what you do. When you have someone come to the White House, where you either arrange for a visit for the president or you have a phone call with the president, a lot of times we use the opportunity to get them to make a statement of their policy or to announce something that they're going to do. It's one of the reasons you can sort of announce on the phone call or that meeting. This is the ordinary course of the foreign policy. So as Mavuri, I'm getting that name wrong, was speaking, Vice President Mike Pence was preparing to announce a ceasefire agreement with Turkey in which the US would withhold further economic sanctions once Turkey had allowed Kurdish fighters to withdraw. The White House has insisted through the Ukraine controversy there was no quid pro quo in relation to requests by the president that the Ukraine government had looked into possible corruption involving Biden's son, Hunter Biden, and the former vice president's past pressure to fire a prosecutor who had investigated his son's company. Mulvey did not admit that there had been a quid pro quo, but only said that the US had attached ordinary conditions to funding, including a demand that Ukraine commit to fight corruption investigation, past interference in the US elections. White House correspondent Jim Acosta later told viewers that as anchor Brock Bowen shook her head disapprovingly, Mick Mulvey was asked at one point whether or not this sounds like quid pro quo. He said, and we do this all the time. He continued, now the reason I said it sounds like this is to catch me if you can. administration is basically essentially what Mick Mulvaney is laying out is the same legal argument laid out by former President Richard Nixon in the famous interview that he did after his presidency, that if the president does it, it's not illegal. Wow. I know CNN at the moment is literally getting reamed because of their whole pushing an agenda, blah, blah, blah. But, holy dooly. Yeah. This is not what McVoy said. In fact, Movie pointed out that the White House had referred the transcript of Trump's call with the Ukraine president to the Department of Justice for criminal investigation. One had cleared the president, and it also noted the White House had released transcripts publicly without fear of an impropriety. Custer went on, Mulvaney, tried to draw the line, well, we don't have this anything to do with Joe Biden, that's baloney, Brooke, because you just pointed out a few moments ago in its transcripts. However, it's already been widely reported that Ukraine did not know any aid had been suspended until several weeks after the July 25th phone call. Okay, so it was, weeks, not months, sorry. Other outlets took a different approach from CNN. Politico, for example, reported Movie appears to confirm Ukraine aid was consignment upon probe into 2016 election, which is accurate. It also published a vague headline, Mulvaney appears to confirm Ukraine aid was tied to political probe, did not conclude, however, that the White House admitted to a quid pro quo. Update Movie clarified Thursday evening that there was never any quid pro quo with Ukraine, adding no funding had been withheld for reasons related to suspected Democrat National Committee communications server that was said at the time to have been hacked by Russia but has never been handed to the FBI. And that's my biggest problem with this whole situation. This is why I think that they're really getting their panties in a bunch over these statements that Trump was making. I think it's got nothing to do with Joe Biden. I think it has to do with this DNC, with this DNC server. If Trump gets this server and is able to prove that Russia did not hack this election at all, or that DNC was not hacked by Russia, their narrative completely goes out the window. Seth Ridge investigation is completely gone out the window, right? Everybody is then saying, well, hang on, if Russia didn't hack the DNC computers, was it Seth Ridge after all? Which is what we're suspecting. If we can turn around and claim and prove that Russia did not hack those DNC computers, the next person that majority of people will be interested in asking about is Seth Ridge, who, by the way, died. Remember Seth Ridge? Hashtag Seth Ridge? That is why I think they're going on about these DNC servers so much. They're not going on about it. So why are they going on about Trump so much? About this Ukraine, right? It's misdirection. Go on about Trump dealing with Ukraine. Hopefully don't mention the other bombshell that is literally also talked about in the transcripts, which is Trump trying to get access to that DNC server. Because God forbid if he does that, Russian narrative completely destroyed. It's already on life support, right? Like, it's already dead, been reanimated. Right about now, it's a zombie and you're trying to do a headshot to kill it, right? That's the Russian narrative at the moment. Let alone the fact that Trump goes through and gets the DNC server, that's the double tap to the head. Bang, bang, Russian narrative is gone. And that's what I think they're worried about. They're not worried about this Joe Biden thing, right? They're worried about the DNC server that Trump also mentions in the calls. And them going on about Joe Biden, it's misdirection. Look over here with my left hand, I've got a flashy card while I'm secretly doing something with my right. It's a magician's trick. And that's what I think it's all about. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Why do you think they care about so much about Trump asking about this Ukraine thing? Do you think it's about Ukraine itself and Joe Biden, about him with the deep state? Or do you think it's more about Seth Rich? Or is it about both of them, that Trump managed to basically go nuclear on the deep state in both areas? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. If this video has been helpful, please smack that like button. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. One more video today, guys. Later video up as well. Later will be up later. I lost the flatus to speak properly. But yeah, I'll do that when I get home from work tonight. But it's just going to be a channel update. So yeah. But apart from that, guys, obviously we'll see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great day and enjoy.